Hey, Timmy, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm almost afraid to do this podcast. I'm not allowed to move. I got
Well,
rid of my green screen, my virtual background. I said, Jesus Christ, let's give it a shot this way.
so last week we started having all kinds of trouble again. The podcast freezes up. Um, my lips are moving, but my voice is coming out 10 minutes. I wonder if that's just me. Maybe that's the reality when
Well,
I
look,
get all
we've done it.
fired up.
Right, we could tell everybody we've done everything. We checked our
Yeah.
internet speeds. We checked, you know, um, all the data that we're using in there, and we just can't come up with a solution other
Well,
than
the only thing
maybe it's the
I did come up with a solution.
program.
And the solution was I contacted and had a long conversation with the tech support. And the reality is it's a curse and a blessing, and my mouth's doing it right now, right? The blessing is we have a package that we purchase,
Mhm.
and that package, when we do a non-live show, works beautiful. Um, when we do a live show, if more than 1,000 people watch the show at one time, we lose the bandwidth and the amount of money we pay to this program reduces the speed and everything because it doesn't allow us to have more than X amount of people watching the show. The
Mhm.
next step is $5,000 a month using this
Mhm.
program. And why
Mhm.
I love this show, I don't foresee me and you paying $5,000 a month to host a podcast on this platform at $5,000 a month.
Yeah,
So
and we have
we're going to be moving
alternatives. Yeah.
right. We're going to be moving over to a program that is just as good. And I'm going to tell you how lucky we are. I purchased this program 3 years ago, and I paid $500 to be a member because it was just coming out. And if you signed up the one time, you got locked into the rate forever.
Mhm.
It was kind of like when they first came out with
Yeah.
satellite radio. If you bought in one time for $500, that's it. You didn't pay no more.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and it happens to be a program now that is equivalent. It's like 2,900, and I think it was 2,950 per month, almost 3,000 a month to have the size that we need and another couple 4 or 5,000 to grow
Mhm.
before we would have to invest money. And I have it all for the $500
Mhm.
because we paid for the program. The most I would have to pay for would be an upgrade if we went from 3,000 people watching it live or 5,000. I think it's 5,000 is the number. If it went past that, um, I'd have to pay a couple $100 more a month. Now,
Yeah.
I can tell you that we have an average between 50 and 75,000 a month, but that's people watching it across all the platforms over a period of 30 days. We haven't exceeded more than $2,900 or 2,900 people on our live show on this channel. We get
Mhm.
more because they're coming in from Twitter and from X and other places.
Mhm.
But for this program itself, I think 3,000, maybe we hit 3,000, total of 5,800 is the highest we ever had for the live show in one night.
Yeah.
So we pick up thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are watching it, but they're watching it at their leisure over a 30-day period.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if we're going to continue to do live shows, we have to at least jump off of this program, go
But
over to that, set it all up. It's going to be a learning curve because I bought it, and truthfully, I never even used it. We've
mhm.
never done a podcast with that program, so there's a learning curve. So let's see what happens. I mean, I don't know what else to say. The way I'm looking at it right now, still looks like we're moving slow. Our mouths are going, but our voices are lagging. And I just I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do this no more. Because the quality is not there, and we've been around long enough to now over a year that the quality should be top notch.
Yeah.
So that's where we are, folks. That's where we are with the podcast. Um, we're going to try to jump over to a different program and see how it works next week.
Okay, though.
Um, so hey, and I just want to jump into some stuff though. Since we're on, hopefully we can get on. If we freeze up, you'll have to work it until next week. But
Yeah.
um, I was watching. I was watching when the astronauts were saved from the space station, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching in awe in my living room as these people broke through the atmosphere and were coming back to Earth. And it took me back to when I was a kid, right? And I used to say when I was a kid, everybody had this great freaking pride in this country, right? Everybody had
Yeah.
pride. Everybody, everybody's parents had them around the television set. This was something like something that it was a fantasy, for Christ's sake, seeing people come from outer space back to the United States. And it gave you great pride, didn't it? Weren't you proud when you'd watch that stuff?
Well,
You'd see
Sean,
this.
right. So here's how I think about this. Basically, what we turned around and did, and it makes no sense to me, is before you go on to another platform or something like that, you replace it with something equal or better, right? Here we had a space shuttle, all right? And what do? We end up retiring that thing, paying the Russians to get us into space, and we have nothing to have replaced that space shuttle. And it makes no sense to me how that could have happened. Why would we do something like that?
Well, the
As a
moral, the moral of my story, though, Timmy, was
Yeah,
that this country is in a bad way, brother. We
yeah,
are. We have more people that are boisterous, that hate the country,
hmm
that hate Elon Musk, that hate everything about everything. And I
yeah,
can't figure it out because I'm sitting home watching these people come back to Earth. And the last
yeah,
thing I'm thinking about is, well, they're in the SpaceX. I hope they crash into the ocean.
yeah.
And why this guy is saving our astronauts, why he's the
He's
rocket
demonized.
man for the
Right,
United States.
right. And he's
They're
demonized.
burning they're burning up his cars, and they're lighting fires at the car dealerships. And if you have a Tesla, they're scratching it up, and you got these asshole Democrats
hmm
screaming that I'm getting rid of my Tesla. Well, John Kelly was an astronaut. He's now a senator, right?
It's Mark Kelly, yeah. But
Mark
anyway,
Kelly. Now, what did I say? John Kelly.
yeah.
I was thinking about the Kelly boys.
I got to keep you
Mark.
straight.
Yeah, I was. I don't know
Yeah,
why that happened. I was thinking about the Kellys,
yep,
but Mark Kelly, the astronaut, his wife was the congresswoman that got shot.
yeah.
If
Kathy
not mistaken,
Gifford.
Gibbert, right? And he ends up taking her spot, right?
Hmm
Is that how that all happened? So
Kind of, yeah.
anyway, to make a long story short, he's all these people are talking green, 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 green. Everything's green. You got to have Teslas. You got to have no gas cars. And then all of a sudden, because they don't like Elon Musk no more, the guy goes out and buys a Yukon that gets about 6 miles to the
Right.
gallon.
Well, and that was
And
his
it goes to show
brother.
you they're
Right.
full of shit.
Right. That
It
was his
just goes to show
brother
you.
that did that, not Mark. But anyway, go
No,
ahead.
no, the congressman just did it. It was just on
The
TV.
senator. I thought it was
The
his brother,
senator,
but maybe I'm
congressman,
wrong on
whatever
that.
the fuck he is,
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah, well, they're both astronauts, okay? You would think that a guy who gets to go to space and see the world and see the stars from a view that very few people get to, you'd think they would appreciate this world better. But no.
Well, you would think that people would have been like cheering and screaming and
Yeah.
happy and feel pride in the country. The
Yep.
astronauts are coming down. Elon Musk builds the ship instead of the Russians. Excuse me. We saved these
hmm
people. And instead, I'm watching all the different news channels, and half of them are bashing the guy.
Yep.
Half of them are bashing the guy, and they're trying to make him out to be like a monster, all because he decided he wanted to help the United States cut through the robbery that we
Right.
see every day of our tax money through these organizations, right?
Yeah, and he's launching rockets, Sean, almost every 3 or 4 days.
Timmy,
it,
they're
you know,
screaming. th-
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, he's launching every 3 or 4 days, putting Starlink satellites all around the world, which people
Well, the
that
guy's
go
got. He's making the
right.
world a better place. He's
He
got. He's
is.
got better. His satellites are better than our freaking internet because we can't even do a podcast, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
guy's got the. When people are in North Carolina with all of these floods and they're starving, he
Mm,
brings them the internet when
yeah.
nobody else could.
Well,
When our when
right, and this is how advanced that is. Okay, these satellites navigate the globe. Right, they have a mobile unit. It's basically a flat screen. You put it on the roof of your RV, and if you go traveling something, or if you're on a sailboat in the ocean, you can connect to Starlink.
Yeah, well,
I
that's what I'm
mean,
saying. He brings the internet to the victims of the biggest floods in the history of North
yes,
Carolina, right?
yes,
He
yeah,
brings rockets to
hmm
our that he makes for the United States of America.
hmm
People are screaming, I don't want him to have my social security card number.
yeah,
Well, let me just tell you, he's got the highest security clearance in the United States of America. And the 81,000 people who are getting drunk tonight and going to be IRS workers tomorrow who's going through your taxes and trying to figure out a way to stick it to you,
yeah,
they got your social security number.
yeah. They
And the
do.
IRS had the biggest breach in the history of social security numbers when they got hacked and everybody's social security number was stolen. They
Yeah,
hate the country so bad that they're looking for every reason to hate Trump, hate this guy, hate, hate,
yeah,
hate. I
yeah.
hate to tell you, he ain't going away. So you
No,
should just watch what happens and embrace it because, they're making this big argument that he's not an elected official, and I keep bringing up the argument. Either was Fauci, and he
yeah,
was more detrimental to this world than anybody
yeah,
ever. I mean,
yeah.
he shut down our businesses. He ruined our kids' educations. He put people out of business. And I still don't give a shit what anybody says. I can't say it because I'll get taken off the air. But, you know, a lot of people dying, sick.
Yeah.
Now there's doctors all over the world, and there's all kinds of these tests coming out and these medical papers, and they're saying more people got sick and died from this than they did
It's happening
from the
in
disease
Japan. In Japan, to a lot of
happening
our kids
everywhere. And this
everywhere.
guy led the charge, and then you're finding out that he was the guy spreading. There was another
Yeah.
medicine, and I just caught the tail end of it, so I'll get more informed on it. But there was some other medicine they were giving to people in another country, and 54% of them died, and so they had to
Wow.
pull this medicine off. Okay, and it was the medicine that they were giving everybody who got COVID.
Wow.
Okay,
Yep.
and who led that charge over in that other country? Fauci did.
Faulty. Yeah.
It's a bad country that we have right now. It's divided in a million pieces, and I don't know how it's going to get fixed. But they did catch those people that burned up the Teslas because it's the only car that has about 95 cameras in it.
Yeah. That's true.
You
Yeah.
know, and so hopefully these people will pay the price, and hopefully people will start settling down because I don't understand. I've never seen the world so divided in so many ways. I really haven't.
Instead of being a country with a unified country under one flag, we turned around, and I think it's just personal greed, Sean. Everybody that eh, you're trimming the fat. Look, I hate to see anyone lose a job. Their families
So
are
don't I.
reliant on it. I hate that. Okay, but a lot of these jobs are created for programs or things that simply don't exist or are extremely wasteful. Okay,
Tim, I
and
worked in government. A lot of the
and
jobs are
yeah,
just created for
you're right.
politicians to give jobs to their friends. And
Yes.
they're not jobs, they're careers where they
Hmm.
get the lifetime of everything, the best of
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that even the Veterans Administration,
Yeah.
right? It's over bloated with a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And you have this thing about not wanting to see veterans lose their job. There's a fix to that. You know what the fix should be? In the United States of America, if you're a veteran, every opportunity to work for the federal government should come to a veteran first. And if the veterans don't take the job, then you fill it with other people. And
Hmm.
always give veterans first option to any job that they're qualified for, right? So then you don't have to worry about the veterans. They're well taken care of. You served this country. You risked your life. You put your life on the line. Some of you died. Some of you, what's that song? Some gave all gave some. There's no healing from war. You're scarred for
Yeah.
life. I don't care if you come home with a bullet hole or not, right? There's going to be people that get shot and die. There's going to be people that are wounded. There's going to be people that watch those things and it fucks them up for the rest of their lives. We owe them everything we can afford to give them, and even what we can't. And that's what I say. Let them have first opportunity for every job in the federal government.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about
right.
it.
And yeah, and like I said, I know that a lot of people are losing jobs, and I don't know what the solution is other than that there was so much fat to be cut out. But look at a lot of the programs, Sean, that are getting wasted. They're teaching mice to be tranny mice and shit like
That's what I'm
that.
saying. I don't have, look at the people that were put into those jobs
Yeah,
are Democratic friends. And look
yeah.
at the Republicans ain't no friggin' angels. I'm sure when they were running the
Well,
show,
yeah,
they
I
were stuck.
agree.
These
And
these weren't little jobs, Tim.
you
Some of
know,
these people making $500,000 to watch a rat and see if he could grow balls if they gave him this medicine. I mean, it's ridiculous.
true.
And I don't give it. The problem is that the mainstream media, who is the evil empire in this country, who
Yeah,
promotes more hate and lies and vicious bullshit than anybody else, they control the minds of so many people. I have never seen in my life so many people who are so easily led. It is almost like the Democratic Party that I belong to. I still am a Democrat. It's almost like it's a cult.
yeah.
And they
Hey,
they and they brainwash people. Timmy, there's
yeah,
people that have lived in this world, right? That have got people that Jim Jones got them to drink Kool-Aid and kill themselves. How many morons did
yeah.
that?
Well,
Hitler.
look at
Hitler
right,
got people to
right.
follow him and just decimate one of the grossest things that could ever happen in this world. There could be nothing worse than what that man was able to do and what he did do. But he got all these people to follow him. How does people follow these fucking morons, Timmy? I can't for the life of me grasp it.
I don't know. Look at so one of the our followers and viewers here, Sean Van Sleet, he hit it. He hit the nail on the head. He says that Biden wanted to hire the IRS agents, 87,000 of them, to audit the citizens. That's all of us.
Well,
But
that's what
now
they do
Musk
now.
comes right. So Musk comes in and he's auditing the government, and they're
And they're
losing their
freaking out.
minds. And
Because
it's
you know
spot
why?
on.
Because they're people. I just said it. How do
Yeah,
these monsters?
yeah,
These are human monsters.
yeah,
These are evil freaking people. They are
yeah,
Satan in human form, right? And they
yeah.
get. And I'm talking about like the Hitlers of the world and the Jim Joneses of the. And they get people to follow them. They get people to kill themselves for them. They get people to kill
Zelensky.
each other. Charlie Manson, how does he, that
Yeah,
little piece of shit, how did he get all those women to follow him and go out stabbing and cutting babies out of people's stomachs?
yeah.
I have never been able to figure out how these people are able, I don't know. Bobby, you
People
just
don't
said it
use their
right,
own.
man.
They don't
Bobby
use their
just said
own
it
head.
right. Robert said it right. And Cuomo's going to run for mayor and he's probably going to win. And he was,
Yeah,
fondling women and using his power. Look at everybody who watches this show knows
yeah.
I hate that man. I would run him over with a train if I was a conductor, right? I really hate the
you,
guy.
you would
He
take the
ruined my
train off.
life.
You would take the
He
train right
look at
off the tracks and
you know
run
what?
them over.
I remember this quote coming from a friend of mine who was also my lawyer.
Mm.
He I was sitting on my deck and I was 7 Heinekens into a bad day. And I was going through a lot. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I was getting fucking pounced from every angle. And Cuomo came out and said I needed to resign. And I knew
Mhm.
everything this prick was doing.
Yeah.
I knew the people involved. I knew some of the girls. I knew what this scummy bastard was doing. And as soon as he came out and called on me to resign, my phone rang and it was my good friend and my lawyer. And he said, Sean, shut the fuck up. Don't say a word. don't say nothing. Just
Mhm.
shut up and let it go. And I said, yeah, I won't say nothing. And then I hung up the phone, and the media called me, and I said, he's the most corrupt piece of shit in America,
Yeah,
him and Joe Picoco and the rest. The next thing, the moral of the story is after that, they sent the whole federal government after me, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
They
toast. And
right.
everybody
That's
knows I
it.
was about as guilty as Martha Stewart, for Christ's
Mhm.
sake. But
Yeah,
but they got me, and they killed me.
yeah.
But the moral of the story is, how do you get people not to remember? Like, how do you get, hey, Bobby, you're right, Robert, I call you Bobby. I don't know if you go by Bobby. That's my brother's name, but you're
Mhm.
right. You went through the same shit. We all know people who are
Mhm.
evil and
Yeah.
somehow control other people. We watched it
Mhm.
with Fauci. And you know what I kind of got out of it? I kind of got the way they do it in brainwash you is they pit one group against the other, like Democrats versus Republicans, those who will take the vax and those who won't take the vax, right?
Mhm.
They were
Yeah,
telling you, oh, you're killing your neighbor. You're going to kill his kids. You're no
yeah.
good. You piece of shit. So they turned everybody against each other, and said, you guys destroy everybody and we'll just sit back and watch.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in this country, right? And I don't know how you fix it, because the Democratic reach is much further to me than just the Congress, the senators, the locals, the governors. We have seen something that I never thought we'd see. And I remember talking to an old man at Boney's Tavern. You remember Boney's Tavern?
Yeah, yeah, down on the island, yeah.
And I'll tell you a funny story. And here's how I met him. I was drinking with a bunch of young guys. We were all in our 20s or 30s. And I don't know how the conversation started. But one of the kids I was sitting with goes, what are you talking about? Who the hell wants to live to be 88? And all of
Mhm.
a sudden, this old man turns and he goes, the guy that's 87. And he was 87 years old.
Right.
And it made me laugh, and it made me think, right? Who the hell
Yeah,
wants to live to be 88? The guy was
yeah,
87. But
yeah,
we were talking, time after that. I seen him quite often when I would go to the bar when I was younger.
yeah.
And he said to me, the United States of America will collapse and the end of democracy happens when the politicians finally say to the Supreme Court, fuck you. We're
Mhm.
not listening to you no more.
Yeah.
And that will be, because they are the yes, Al Albin,
And
Boney's
and
on
and they're and you know what?
Sargent Street.
There's and all these radical district judges are creating a ripe
Well,
atmosphere for finally people, turn around saying, "The hell with you, we're doing what we're going to do."
that's where I was leading this
That
story to, right?
yeah,
I don't know exactly how many. The last time I
yeah,
was in politics and I remember reading about these district judges, there was like
yeah,
677 of them.
yeah.
And it appears now that 677 people from every part of the country can decide how the country runs rather than the president of the United
Hmm.
States.
Yeah.
You have one moron saying, turn the plane around and bring all the murderer, rapists, gang members
Back.
back to our country. You
Yep.
can't do that. Yet
Yep.
Obama and them did it,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. The
And
Democrats. Yep.
you can't send them out, but you can let them come in and violate every law coming in, like
Yep.
Biden
And
did.
right. And the ACLU. I mean, there used to
Yeah,
be
well, they've
for
always been
America,
pieces of shit. They've
right?
never been for America. They've
No,
always been
no,
for
they're
themselves.
assholes.
And then you have another. You have the other judges. You have one saying, "Wait a minute, you can't stop uh, boys from saying they're girls and going into the woman's room.
Hmm.
I want you to pull that policy. Screw you. How about somebody pulls your policy? You
Yeah.
stupid fucking moron. I mean, I would love to believe. I would
Hmm.
love to believe that 99% of the world believes that a boy is a boy, a girl's a girl, and
Hmm.
some asshole who decides he wants to put high heels on and a wig has no right going into the girls' room and pulling
Yeah.
his pants down and saying, hey, I'm here to play basketball on your team. I'm a girl. Come on.
Yeah, and you
But
look at so I had to log in the other day into my VA veterans account, right? And while had to create this ID me thing there, I was shocked because it asked me if I'm male or female.
well, that's because of Trump. They
because of
pulled all
Trump.
that shit out in the federal
Right.
government.
But
But all
but
these left
right.
wing
But when I go down
governors,
there and I fill out the paperwork, right, it asks not only male or female, but it asks me what I think I am. Other than that, it's
well, you
and
ain't. What are you? You don't know what
right,
the fuck you
I
are.
don't know what I
It
am.
depends how many Heinekens you have.
Right, it does. But I am a Bud man, so you know,
Well, yeah, yeah, Bud Light.
not Bud Light. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
drank
Bud
Bud
Light.
Light
Timmy's
since they
drinking
did
Bud
that.
Light, folks. You heard it
Since
here, right here on
Mulvaney
Truth
did
Lies
that,
and Politicals.
I switched to Coors. Okay. Which
But Timmy, we're still watching people
yeah,
fight that.
yeah,
We're watching. We're watching. We talked about Mahmoud the other day. He
yeah,
gets shipped off. Because the guy's promoting Hamas. He's
yeah,
promoting hate. He's supporting, genocide. He's supporting,
yeah.
killing kids and babies, and somehow we got a Democratic judge saying, "Not so fast. You can't do that. You can't deport them." What
Yeah,
happened to this
yeah,
country? You
right.
used to get a green card. If you farted in the wrong spot, they'd say deport the guy. Now all of a
Mm,
sudden you can kill people. You can be a
yeah,
gang member. You can support Hamas. You can go into colleges and
yeah,
hold janitors hostage and
yeah.
smash windows, and and um,
I
and
mean,
and you walk out and some stupid ass judge says, "Oh, sorry, President, you can't do that. You can't
yeah,
do
and you
this. You
come
can't
in
do that."
with green cards under certain conditions, and if you violate them conditions, you can be removed. Okay, and this guy
Well, you
here,
would think that's how it was, but it looks to
yeah,
me like there's a
and it's
problem now,
right.
right?
Well, yeah, the ACLU and every lawyer on earth, and then every activist judge and stuff like that. Sean, we've reached a point where it seems like the criminals or the violators have more rights and more protection than the law-abiding citizens, and that's just
Well, Timmy, I told you before how the politicians think and how they work, right?
yeah.
The politicians think and they work like this. If if I've already convinced 10 stupid people that I'm the Messiah, okay? And I can do 10 more things to convince a whole bunch of other people who feel like a group of politicians from another side are preventing them from living their life. For example,
Hmm.
if I am a Republican and I don't support a man in the girls' locker room, but the Democrats go, we support it, they just picked up another pool of people that now vote for them and support them. And so it's no longer about morals. It's no longer about right
Hmm.
and wrong. At one time, the Hatfields and McCoys, the Democrats and Republicans, we would fight, but we still had pretty common principles. We would fight more about how you implement those principles, right?
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
all believed that people needed to have Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security, how they were funded, how they were handed out, how it was done, how much money can you make, all that shit. That was the debates. That was the battles.
Hmm. Yeah.
The
You take.
battles ain't that isn't the battles anymore. The battles that we have now is I think you can have a pair of balls and be a girl because I need your vote. Because the other side, they don't like you, man. Timmy, they don't like you. They despise you. They think something's wrong with you. I don't, man. Come over here, hang out with me.
Hey,
That's what they do.
I think that's how I'm viewed in Cohoes by the
Well,
administration.
it may be the way you're viewed, but again, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's not just that one group, right?
They think.
Do
Well, they
you
think I'm
think
a troublemaker. I think I'm a patriot.
well, again, there's people that are going to love you and people going to
Yep.
hate you, right?
Yep.
But but do you really believe for 1 second Joe Biden, who has the pens on, pisses his pants at night, um, do you believe that he woke up one day and said, for 70 years I've been a rotten prick. I've been a racist. I've been all
Mhm.
these things,
Yeah.
uh, and now I'm a good-hearted man. I want to open up the border because I want all these people to come live a good life. Criminals, we can reform them. Rapists, we have rapists here anyway. Murderers, we have murderers in the. No, he didn't wake up one day and say, I'm just a good guy. He woke up one day with a group of people that said, hey, all these other people closed the border. Let's open it up. And when they get here, let's make sure we give them a registration form and tell them who let them come in. and who's giving them welfare, and who's giving them free education, and who's giving them medical care, and who's giving them, a welfare card and actually a cash card. Joe Biden and the Democrats. We're the ones who did it. That's what they're.
Yeah.
That's behind their plan. I
Yeah.
don't think for one second they give a shit about these people.
No, they
They
just
cared
care
about
about that
adding more
damn vote.
people to their party. They cared about saying, we are a cult and we're going to figure out how to bring you over into our cult and not that side.
And all you got to
So
do is
come on
vote.
in,
Yeah.
come on over. Because there's no other way in the world. And nobody's going to convince me that they just let him over here because they just started feeling sorry for him. If you
No.
listen to Biden his whole life, he's a racist prick, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted, if you smoked crack, he wanted you to go to jail for life. If you sold it, he wanted you to go to jail for life. He didn't care about reforming people and helping them back in the day,
Except for Hunter.
right? His buddy was part of the Ku Klux Klan, for Christ's sake. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he said to black people, "You're not black if you don't vote for me."
That's
I mean,
right.
he's just a racist. But somehow he convinces them, "Come with me. I care about you.
Yeah, and they follow him.
I'll take care of you."
Not anymore,
And
though.
that's the world we live today, Timmy. That's where we
Yeah.
are right now. That's the, Trump is trying to make changes. We got judges acting as though they run the country. And I can't stand, the chief judge of the United States Congress or
Yeah,
the United
Roberts.
States
Right,
Supreme
John
Court. I hate
Roberts.
Roberts. Yep.
Yeah.
I can't stand that man. He is a Democratic lover dressed in a conservative robe.
Yep,
Okay.
and
Because
and his name's on the
even his
Epstein list.
I listened to a few of the other who's dissented from the
Yeah.
last argument about the one judge having the right to make them spend the $2 billion that they cut with Doge.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, this is an easy case. They're all going to come out and say no little federal judge is going to be able to tell the president what he can and can't do. That would be for the Supreme Court to handle,
Yeah.
not some little judge. And I would make the argument if that little judge can do it, if they're allowed to do it, which I don't believe they are,
They, they
then
don't
the
have.
government should be able to say, okay, we appeal it. We don't care what you say. We appeal it. And they should be able to continue to do what they're doing. It shouldn't be stopped. Stop.
No.
Turn that plane around.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They
Yeah.
should say, I'm appealing it and we can continue to do it until the final decision is made. It shouldn't be stopped. Why does these, little rinky dink lawyers who are political appointments for life,
Yeah.
why are they given the opportunity to decide for a whole why does a guy in Montana have a right to decide for the United States as a whole what the immigration policies are?
Yeah, they're district judges for that reason. Then, and now they're coming on out and telling the Pentagon, okay, how they can, what type of personnel they can have in a service, whether they're
Yeah.
transsexuals or whatever they are, or
Yeah.
cross dressers. Okay, they want to now run the military. So what do they
So
do
who
next? Tell
right.
us we don't get to bomb somebody that attacks one of our ships. You know like they said
That's what I'm trying to say. We have
with the
these
astronauts in space. No, 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 no. Musk, send those astronauts back. Okay,
Well, look at it. If you
it's
even pay
crazy.
attention, you realize one of the things that proves to you that they are nothing more than political hacks is that you don't even have to go where you live. You go shopping for them. You look and go, oh, he's
Yeah,
a Obama. He's a
he's
this. Let's go to
yeah,
these guys.
yeah.
So
They
so
judge
they're
shop.
going
Yeah,
to a guy in California for an issue in New York, and
hmm
this guy decides that the whole world's got to start hiring transgenders for the military again because he's decided that's the right thing to do. His job ain't to decide shit, and we shouldn't
yeah,
have to listen to him. And I think it's time that the government says, you know what? Fuck it. How about we do this? Go to Congress. You have the Republicans running the show. Go to them and have them change all the stuff that you're trying to do
they just got to
through a
defund them.
bill, and then defund them.
Yeah,
And when Robert says, well, trying to impeach a judge isn't the way to go. Bullshit. If a judge is that corrupt that he becomes so partisan that he doesn't care about the law, impeach his ass.
yeah.
And I don't care
Impeach
if it's
them.
a Republican or a Democrat.
And if you can't
Because if you
impeach
don't,
them, then you can defund them.
all
And
I
they're
know is
looking to
that,
do that right now. And another thing they're looking to do too is take anybody that goes to a court, okay, for this bullshit stuff. They have to put down a certain amount of money. Okay, and if they lose the case, they don't get the money back. Okay, and that's what go. That's and I think that's a good thing. Maybe that'll stop some of this. Um, these activist judges that
The
we
only
have.
way it's going to stop, Timmy, is twofold. Either Congress starts to go to the president, everything you want to do, tell us,
Yeah,
and we'll codify it.
that's it.
Now it becomes the law,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And the Congress makes the law. Now, I don't give a shit. I'm going to talk from the basic low level government because it's all the same. If a city council says we're going to pass a budget and the budget just basically says $2 million for the fire department, the mayor has the discretion on how to spend that $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
They appropriate the money, but they don't get to say, well, you got to hire this many people, you got to do this, you got because they don't run the day-to-day operations. They pull the purse strings. So the reality is the president of the United States, he is the executive.
Mm-hmm.
Congress says, we want you to put $3 million into buying, smart water. And then he finds out that smart water is only a bottle that says smart water and they're pouring it out of the faucet. You're going to tell me he
Yeah.
can't say, whoa,
Yeah.
we're not going to do that. That's fraud. That's fraud. We ain't
Yeah.
doing it. And then you got a judge from Montana, and I'm just using it's not really Montana. They're probably more conservative. But you're using a judge that says, nope, you can't do that. Sell the water.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Sean
Where
is
does a
so.
judge get
Yeah.
where does a judge even get involved?
Yeah. Sean, when I was in the
Just doesn't.
service, to buy a little washer, just a regular little washer that you would put over a bolt, right?
Yeah.
It would cost 2 or 3 cents for a washer, right? In our squadron, for us to buy that washer, we would have to probably pay in upwards of $25 for a washer.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's just
It's crazy.
crazy.
But I
Okay.
mean, how do you say in this country
Yeah.
that first of all, Elon Musk doesn't have to be we go back to Elon
He
Musk is
doesn't
not an
need the
elected
shit.
official.
Neither does
Well,
Trump.
he's not an elected official. Fauci is not an elected official. And 99% of the people running our country, the
Hmm.
bureaucrats, are not elected
That's right.
officials.
That's
And
right.
if you went to one bureaucrat and said, who's running your department? They're going to say, my boss. Who's your boss? Another bureaucrat. Okay.
Hmm.
If you went to the congressman and said, hey, how's that department run? He'd go, I don't know. I got to call the guy over there who's the boss. The bureaucrat. Non
Yeah.
elected officials run the country. Politicians pass bills.
Yeah.
That's what they do. I'm going to pass a bill that we fund a program called Medicaid. And it's going to be for the poor people or the old people or the sick people, whatever it's for. Okay? But I don't know how to run one. I'm just going to pass the bill. I'm going to fund it, and I'm going to hire Timmy Thibodeau, and he's going to run the program because he's run programs before. Timmy's a bureaucrat. And then Timmy hires a bunch of people under him. So what do these people think? That AOC knows how to run the veterans department, or she knows how to make rockets? She may
Hmm.
know how to make a rocket, all right, but it's
She
two
knows how to
Heinekens
make
and a shot of bourbon.
she knows how to make a sangria martini. That's it.
I think you get my point. Hey, listen, I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on because we can fight this battle all
Yeah.
day long. So Timmy, um, I want to talk about some Cohoes business. Of course, you got to throw some Cohoes business
Yeah.
in
I
the
got
podcast.
I got my little list here.
So I wanted to tell you. So um, I found out when I was in the fire department. I went on in '89. Okay, that was my starting date in '89. And when I went on, and Al Albin can attest to this, Mike Spazowski, Paul Hiru, Tommy Ross, John DeMeo, a whole group of people that worked for the city made up our arson team.
Hmm.
And we had some bad arsons in the city, right?
Oh
People
yeah. Yep.
died.
Yep.
Um, no city should be left without a fire investigation team because every fire should be have a determination how it started, why it started, not only to make sure that it wasn't arson, but so we can learn from certain things like how did that happen? That's kind
Hmm.
of unusual.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
look at that.
started? In
it
what
was
room or whatever? What
no,
was
it's
the
like that.
step?
What is that seed oil stuff that people used to shine their floors with?
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, the name escapes me, but without having fire investigators, come to find out, as after you used it, if you left all of the rags, bulked up,
Mm-hmm.
they would ignite, spontaneous
Mm-hmm.
ignite, and that was
Wow.
found by fire investigators that said, holy shit, what how does that happen? And they've uncovered a lot of things over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you keep safe, right? If you don't know how these fires start. So, make a long story short, we had the best arson team, and the plaque still hangs in the firehouse. At least it was when I was there, and it said, "Congratulations to the City Co's arson team. Highest rate of convictions, 98.9% of every fire that was started that ended up being arson. They
Mm-hmm.
solved the case."
Wow,
Okay.
that's good. Yep.
Whether I'm going to tell you, it's a sad story, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. I used to drive the back of the hook and ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and we got a call for a smoke condition, possible fire down behind Mick's Pizza. So the box comes in, we respond to the fire. Nothing there. We turn around to go back to the firehouse. We get by the bowling alley, and the whole fucking house is engulfed in flames. Now, it wasn't engulfed in flames when we went by it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it was so engulfed in flames that we couldn't put it out fast enough and a young girl died in that fire.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was part of the Walsh's family. What a wonderful family devoted to this city. Um, Still hits me in the heart when I think about it. You know how they solved that fire, Timmy? The guy who started it went behind the bowling alley and crumbled up newspaper and lit the newspaper on fire. And our arson team, having the wherewithal, went back there and found this paper, even though that wasn't where the fire was. They're looking all over the
Right.
place
Right.
for
Yeah.
different. They find this paper, and it's got red circles around all of these jobs, somebody looking
Mm-hmm.
for jobs. And then they find out that somebody was either renting that apartment or had some kind of connection to that apartment. I think he was renting one of the
Mm-hmm.
floors. The girl lived upstairs, maybe he lived downstairs. And they interviewed the guy, and when they went to interview him, he had the newspaper with all the red circles.
Wow.
And the guy ended up getting caught, admitting to the fire, and getting put away for 15 years or 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not long enough. But the moral of the story is, I just found out that for the first time in the fire department history, they no longer have a fire investigation team. They have
Mm-hmm.
no fire investigators because the city has basically just dropped the ball, ain't sending nobody to school, don't give a shit, could care less.
Mm-hmm.
And the people I talked to from the inside, not even in the fire department, said, we've had some suspicious fires and we have nobody to determine whether these things were arson or
Yeah.
not.
Right.
How pathetic, how sad has this city become when you
Yeah.
take a department that was once the pride of Cohoes, the pride of the capital region,
Yeah.
fire investigators that were the best of the best, and now we don't even have the program?
Mm-hmm.
How
They
do you
got
do
rid of
that?
it. Right.
So if there's a fire in Cohoes, how do you know if somebody started it? Nobody's
Right.
there to. Now, I was told that the state was called, but the state won't come unless there's a fatality. They're busy enough, right?
Yeah.
And I guess other cities once in a while may have some people that can come in, but you need your own team. So
Right.
now we have a fire department that the mayor is shit on for what, 4 years that he's been here, cut him
5 years.
down to the lowest level,
Mm.
had him working straight time instead of paying him overtime while he's taking a $20,000 raise. Okay. We got firefighters up there, fighting with each other. One of them, as we know, just got was in court the other day. I don't know if he got arrested, but was charged with harassment for fighting another firefighter.
30 day suspension, I gather,
30-day suspension
for
for that.
fighting. Yep.
I mean, when the morale goes so low, people start losing it, man. They really do.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
worked in
And
the fire department when it was at its lowest and at its
right
highest.
now,
And
right, and I just got wind real quick too. Is that we had the fire on Congress Street, right? I thought they were saying that one fire hydrant was not working or troublesome, but now I'm being told there was two of them.
well, look, at all we know is that we talked about the importance of fire
Yeah,
hydrants and getting them
yeah,
fixed. And
and
I don't care whether people believe it or not, but we believe wholeheartedly that after we embarrassed them on the show, they went down there the next day and fixed it after they told the lady they wouldn't be back till springtime, right?
yeah,
I was told today, Timmy, I was
hmm
told that Keeler was in Steve Hennessy's truck and
right,
they were out driving around
right.
looking at all the problems.
Right
Well,
in the
because
first ward, right where he's got his cinder blocks all over his jersey box blocking the parking lot. He drove right down that street. I guess it's
it's
probably the Steve Hennessy Museum now. 14 months it's been that way. Anyway,
all I know is that the show's making a difference.
yeah, it is,
Okay. The
and it is
show is making
spot
a
on about,
difference.
now we don't have fire inspectors in the city. Okay,
My dog is barking at somebody out in my yard. I
Finn?
don't know who the hell it is. Probably Keeler. Him and Hennessy out in the truck.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we do know is the city of Cohoes is falling apart from every
yeah,
level. They could talk about how great they're doing, how much money they have. If you live here, you see it. We talked about potholes, how bad they were.
yeah.
Guess what? The day after the show, they're out filling potholes.
Right. And look, and
It ain't
Sean, you know what?
coincidence.
Right. I have three Freedom of Information requests, right? Hennessy did not answer all three. I appealed it to the Corporation Counsel, who's Brian Kremer, as you know. He sends me an email, says he's going to respond within 10 days to get them. Well, it's been 12 days and nothing. You
Well,
can't even get the city to give you the freedom of information uh, that we're all entitled to. Okay, one of them was the turbidity and chlorine chart at the water plant. They weren't dumping 300 gallons of water in there. It was 5,000 gallons a minute, Sean, of contaminated water was
we know
going
that.
into the clean water.
We know that.
Okay,
We know that the water was polluted. I was
yeah,
laughing at Manny Santos because he said, "Hey, you're going to make my insurance go up." I was just going to talk about that. I was
yeah,
going to talk about how insurances are going to go up because
yeah,
they send letters to the city asking for a breakdown of how many firefighters, what jobs they
yeah.
do, where's the fire hydrants. Yeah, because when I was the mayor, I used to get it and say, make sure this stuff is fixed because it affects people's homeowners insurance.
Yes, it
It
does.
really does. It really does. I think the city of Cohoes, I had to laugh at this, and I don't care about the kudos. I don't care about
Right.
politics no more, and I've been out of it a long time. But you
Yeah.
see that they got an award for the streetscape on Ransom Street.
Right, right. That was a project you started, I believe.
Well, I
Right,
think I started the whole thing, right? I mean,
right.
we started with the streetscape in front of the music hall. Then we
Yeah.
opened the music hall. Then we built a new park. We put in
Mm.
all the sidewalks. We did the streetscape, planted the trees all the way down to Rizzo's for Christ's sake.
Right.
And the city, I see the picture of all these people standing around getting an award for the streetscape.
For the street
And I
that you
said,
did.
man, thank you for taking my award, but more
Right.
importantly, take a look at what they've done. There's
Mhm.
weeds growing through the sidewalks. All the trees are broken. The park is
Yeah.
wrecked. All the music instruments are ripped out.
Right. Catch
Uh,
basins sinking all over the city, for Christ's sakes. You wouldn't believe
it's
the amount of
amazing.
catch basins there. Sean, they've got private contractors out doing this work now. It's that
Well,
bad.
that's because Hennessy, I'd
Yeah.
like to know who they are. I'd like to see who they got doing them. I
Yeah.
really would.
Keep your
But
eyes
Timmy, I
out
got
for
to,
it.
when I was down in Florida, now I understand no cities are perfect, right?
Yeah.
But I was down in Dunedin, Florida, and you could walk down those streets and you could pick your food up that fell on the ground and eat your sandwich. That's how clean they are.
hmm
It's clean. It's you just look at it and you can feel this huge difference. There's no
Right.
abandoned buildings. There's pride. I
Yeah.
seen the guys picking the garbage up. There's a guy going up and down the street picking up, if anybody dropped a napkin.
Hmm.
Um, Very little garbage that I seen anywhere, even in the streets. And I thought to myself, that's the kind of pride I had. Like I used to say to people, I used to say to DPW, if you're driving down the street and there's a McDonald's bag in the road, I'm expecting you to pull the truck over and go pick it up because that's what I would do. And for a while, I got a lot of pushback. And then after that, guess what I got? I didn't have to say nothing. I'd see them stopping their cars, picking up the garbage. They
Hmm.
took pride. There's no
Yeah.
pride here.
Well,
I
look
go
at
down to
what.
Florida.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
pride in them cities.
Well, look at what happened to me just a few days ago. Right. I took photos. Actually, they got sent to me of Western Avenue, where all those vehicles were rolling over the edge of the road, destroying the newly paved road. Okay, it's still busted on up. Okay, and what is it in front of? New house under construction for uh, Billy Taylor Jr. Anyway, it's so badly damaged right there. People were hammering on me just for bringing it on up. Because you know why I brought it up? Because it happened right down the street that his father did it. Okay, so this is a newly paved road. I hope that all they got to do is when they pave that driveway eventually is repair the edge of the road they damaged, and I'll be
So
happy.
Timmy, I every once in a while I go peek at the Fifth Ward page. That's your
Mm-hmm.
podcast. That's your page.
Yeah.
I know you get 130,000 views. I mean, there's a lot of people following the page, right? Because
Yeah.
they either hate you or love you or just want to see what you're going to say, whatever it is, right?
Whatever I'm gonna do
Uh,
next. Yeah.
right. What the hell's Timmy got next to say? I seen the names of the people who were criticizing you,
Hmm.
and my response to them was, "Fuck them people."
Well,
Okay,
that's
because
my
they're the same
attitude
people that
anyway.
stick up for they're the same people that stick up for those clowns who
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
destroying the city
Yeah.
and the moral compasses of the world.
Well, when
Here's
they
the
do that,
bottom line.
right? When they do that
Tell
to
me,
me,
here's the
Sean,
bottom.
they motivate me even more.
Well, here's the bottom
Right.
line. I drive down Western Ave every day. Okay.
Hmm.
I actually see the tire tracks coming out of the muddy field of the house,
Yep.
going right over the top of all that broken concrete. Now, I'm going to tell
Blacktop.
you, when I
Yep.
was the mayor of the city, I said to Billy Keeler, when he was up there, he came down to me trying to figure out how we could put a well
Yeah.
in his land because it was too cheap to run the sewer basins.
Right.
But but when you have a street that's all blacktopped and you're driving off it sideways, you're
Hmm.
breaking all of the edges of the right. So
Yeah.
you're supposed to put down wood or something so the trucks would drive over it, not break the um, the
The asphalt.
blacktop.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And when he was doing it, people would call me complaining about him. I sent
Hmm.
Coat there. I think Coat said, "Hey, you got to put something down." It's not a big deal. It's not like
Yeah.
anybody's
It's
trying to
not right.
hurt you, but he paved his own road that has 10 houses on it. 6 of them he owns, right?
Yeah.
Him and his
Somewhere.
family. So
Right.
they got this beautiful road that probably should have been the last paved, but it was the first paved.
Hmm.
Okay, to the victor goes the spoils. I get it. But I don't want to hear people complaining because I got 4 or 5 emails from
Hmm.
people saying, "Hey, there's potholes all over the city. Now I drive down Western Avenue on this beautiful new road that the mayor put in for himself," which I don't believe he put it in for himself. Look, it
Yeah.
had to be done. There was potholes everywhere. Look at Keeler. I'm not going to blame Keeler for everything,
No.
but he should have had wood down so when they were driving in and out of that lot, they didn't do what they did, which is destroy a big patch of that brand new blacktop. And what are you going to do? Call Codes? Oh, wait a minute. Codes lives across the street because it's his brother-in-law.
Right.
And his brother-in-law just got a $20,000 raise. And it made the best code enforcement officer we have leave the city over it.
Yeah, and look at it,
So
and I'm getting letters, Sean, from people who are saying, "Look at code enforcement are finding violations here and here and here," and they're being told to mind their own business. Shut up. I mean, that's
what is
happening in this city.
what is Sherry saying? I
Sherry,
had the same problem in Waverly getting reports on a sold business. I was told they didn't have any prior received
partial for the
for
new. The
the new.
manager is gone now, thank God. But there's a reason why he was hiding info because these sales shouldn't have happened, and he
I
knew it.
talked to Sherry about this, and she's absolutely
Mm.
right. I mean, she's got a beautiful house, and then they put a business in that shouldn't be open. Again, when you know somebody, you get to do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
I'm not, again, look at the city of Cohoes has
Hmm.
gone down the toilet. It really has.
Yeah.
And I do blame Keeler because he's the boss. The crime is running rampant. Every other day you see these raids in the city, right? I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody tells you. The person who's going to yell at me and say the mayor has nothing to do with bad people moving the city, bullshit, because I threw them out. We used every tactic in the world to get rid of drug addicts, drug
Yeah.
dealers, bad people. We took
Mm.
Ransom Street that had nothing but bad houses, people living over dead buildings, and we got rid of them all and turned it into a $50 million utopia street that had restaurants and new houses and market rate houses and people coming from all over calling it the a capital region destination. It's ruined it now, and all these busts are because of him. He's the mayor. He should have his pulse on this. He don't know what's going on in this city, Tim. He doesn't
No.
even care that they
That's why
broke
he's
up the
got to
site.
get Hennessy to drive him around, for Christ's sakes. He doesn't drive
They
around
don't
on his
care.
own,
There's
you
no
know.
pride in the
Yeah.
city.
Now I'm
Does
also
he do
being
some
told.
good things? I don't know. I
He,
haven't
I,
really seen a whole lot that I can jump up and down. I'm sure
no,
there's good things that he
I'm sure
does.
there are. Look, at I heard also, Sean. I don't know how true, but one of the people called in to me and they told me that there were two ODs down on the island through either drug use or whatever's going on with the drugs down on the island. Have you heard anything about that? Because
Well,
that's what I was
I
told.
listen. There's drug
I
overdoses
just
every
don't
day in this.
know. Okay, but I mean, I think it's just part
Sean
of life
Sleet said
nowadays.
the code enforcement wrote up the builder of the house and was told to look the other way. We did a story about that.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
know that happened.
yeah. That
We
did
know it
happen.
happened because the person that owned the house said that code came down there to bust his balls
Yeah,
and found out it was the people building the house for his son. So they told him just to leave the people.
right,
We know that
right.
to be true, and I know from the code. I know from the people
Yeah,
who work
work
on
for
the
code.
inside of
So
City
the
Hall have
mayor,
told us that.
so the mayor's basically he's got a brother-in-law, and I don't want to mention his name, but apparently the guys under him are being told, "Don't worry about it." The
Well,
code doesn't apply to
Freddie
them,
Law was the
just
best
like
code
the ethics
enforcement.
code doesn't apply to Billy Killer,
Yeah,
to the
well,
mayor.
we had one of the best code enforcement officers in the capital region, Freddie
Yeah,
Laughlin,
Freddie. Yeah,
and he didn't want to leave here, but they skipped over him. They were hiring a senior code
yeah.
officer.
Hmm.
He's the most senior and the best, him and
Yep.
Eddie.
Hmm.
And they skipped both of those guys and hired the most junior.
Right,
And then we
right.
find out it's Killer's brother-in-law.
Killer's brother-in-law. This is what's going on in the city.
You
You
can't.
wonder why it's going
But
to
again,
shit, you know?
look at I don't dislike the guy. I'm just
No,
calling
neither
out
do
his
I.
faults. Yeah, I think he's a shitty mayor. I think
Yeah,
he'll go down as the worst mayor ever in the
yeah,
history of the city. I think he's aloof. I think he's just
yeah.
uh, Timmy.
And people
If
said to
you,
me that I hate the mayor. No, I don't.
I don't
I
hate the
don't.
guy. Why
I
do
don't
I don't
really
have
hate it.
nothing to hate him, but
No,
I'm
I
doing a
don't hate
podcast
him. I
about truth,
don't
lies, and
hate him
political
for
bullshit.
anything. I just think that he's misusing taxpayer resources. In fact,
Look at
the
our
ethics
show
board
is
even
about.
confirmed that.
Well, hey, look at we expose everybody. I don't give a shit,
Yeah.
friends or foe, right?
Hmm.
If it's a topic worth talking about, we talk about it. I don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I dislike you, right?
No, I don't dislike him.
But I want you to remember this. If I can get a picture tomorrow, I'm going to get a picture and put it up on. I'm going to send it to you because you got far more people watching your Facebook than I do.
Yeah.
You got 140,000 views. I don't
in
put enough stuff
28
on there.
in 28
Yeah, I don't have.
days.
It's a very well followed page,
Yeah.
but the mayor walks every day. The guy's in great shape. I'll give him
Yeah.
credit. He's in great shape. He walks every day. He has to walk down Western Avenue, down Jefferson, turn onto James Street,
Mm.
and right there was a water break that happened,
Yeah, did
and
you see that hole?
the hole is this deep, and the rocks are all over. and he has to walk past that. I would have to go down to the doctor and get pills to calm me down if I walked past that and thought that I left the city looking like that.
No
He
cone there.
steps over it.
Right.
He steps over it. Where's the
Doesn't have the sense
pride?
to make a phone call and say, "Hey, you need to at least get." I drove by that the other day, okay, and that thing had to be 4 inches deep at
It
least,
is. It's terrible.
okay.
My
And
response
at
is
night, you would not see that.
you walk by it every day, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor. Where is your
fix it.
pride to stop, pick up the phone, call Steve Hennessy and say, Steve, get your fucking guys up here, fill that hole right, get a broom, sweep all the rocks into that. I don't want rocks all over the city. I don't want people calling me up saying they're driving over rocks with their car because that really pisses people off. Then I'm
Yeah,
not blaming nothing, but they don't teach people how to do stuff. So I guarantee you there's some new young kids on
yeah,
DPW, right?
yeah,
And when I was there, I said to them, because I hated it myself, they would fill a pothole and then you would drive down the street and there'd be blacktop pieces all over and you'd hear it hitting your car, ching, 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 ching,
yeah.
right? Because they don't take time to pick it up. I would say to those guys, please, this is how I want it done. I want you to clean out the hole, fill the hole, and when you're done in that area, take the brooms out, sweep up all of the
Yeah.
excess, put it in a shovel, put it in a bucket, and then go to the next one. I don't want anybody to know that we were there. I want
Hmm.
it to look like somebody dropped something and filled that hole. I didn't even see anybody
Yeah.
there. I don't want them to go, hey, thank you for
Yeah.
filling the hole, but now I got blacktop stuck to my car,
Yeah.
all over the car. And
Hmm.
that's what's happening all over the place.
Right.
So
I was just driving down the street and the same thing, Sean. I ran over freshly patched spaces, potholes, freshly patched. Right. As soon as I went over them, boom, 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 you could hear all the blacktop
yes,
under
because
your
it's
fenders.
it's all over. Timmy, I
Yeah.
used to say to guys, and they got mad at me, but look at I want things done the right way. I used to say the most detrimental statement to the success of any business, any city, anything
Hmm.
is that's not how we done it before. Because I don't care how you done it before. We're
Yeah.
going to do it like this now. And so one day they were flushing hydrants, which I don't even know if they do anymore. And they were flushing hydrants up on the top of Garner Street. And all they do is they open up the hydrant, and then the water just runs down the road, right?
Yep.
And some of the catch basins catch it other times. So at that particular street, I'm driving. Somebody stops me, said, they're flooding my house. Mr. Mayor, what the hell's wrong with you? They're flooding my house. I go, how they flood in your house? He goes, they opened the hydrant. It's been running for 10 minutes. Look at my house. And I look, he's going down the street, over the curb right into his basement. I'm like, oh, God. Now, it's not their fault. They don't know they're doing that,
Right. Yeah.
right? But I said, listen, I got a valuable lesson. Here's what we're going to do from now on. You're going to hook up a fire hose to it, and you're going to run the hose to the catch basin, and you're going to flush the water down into the catch basin.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
ain't
that
going
makes
down the
sense.
street. Oh my God, you would have thought that I asked if I could have their firstborn kids. But they did
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
They eventually did it. And
Hmm.
guess what? Nobody else was getting flooded
Yeah.
because DPW workers are the best. They are the best. And we have some of the best. Their leadership sucks. They don't even have
Yeah.
watchmen anymore. You
So
can't even
look
call
at,
down
yeah.
to the garage.
So look at, do you have any hot tips? Because I just want to put one thing on out.
Go ahead, read them, man. I know you.
If you're ready.
I know that
So look
somebody
at,
sent you a letter.
this is very important as far as transparency. For me to get information out of City Hall, it used to be if I wanted a record or a document or something, I would go to city clerk Loriando. She'd have that stuff for me in a matter of, usually days, if not weeks, right? And I'm not saying this is anything about the current city clerk. She's doing a great job. But you know where I'm at is there's been some kind of a change going on in City Hall. Everything I ask for, no matter how simple it is, right at arm's reach, all they have to do is walk over and pick it out of the file. It's taken them 20 days to give it to me because that's the maximum they can wait under the law. Okay. Then, so I got three Freedom of Information request. One of them is for the turbidity and chlorine chart. Okay, that is going to reveal how bad the spike was in the water plant of that contamination. I asked for
They
the
don't want to give it
video.
to you.
Right, they don't want to give it to me. The video cameras are on the water plant building. I don't believe any of them are working for the inside, the outside. And I asked for those videos. They're not giving me those videos of those cameras. And then I also ask for the any records for the silt, okay, that would be supposed to be cleaned out of the reservoir every 10 to 15 years, the silt buildup.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And that is sitting there, and they're not responded to that as either. So do I have a
Well, here's what I
transparent?
can tell you.
No.
This show has
Yep.
stopped them, and they're looking for every way in the world not to give us information because they know we're going to bring it to the public, right? And there's
That's
lots of
true.
people watching the show. And so the reality is they're going to try to hide everything. You and I know because
Yeah.
people tell us. People tell us that work for the city. People
Yes.
that you wouldn't even know would even know because it's not their part of the city's
Yeah.
job. People
And I got a
call us.
letter today in the
I
mail.
get yes. I mean, I get people texting me. I'm like, who the
They
hell is
text
that? Where'd
you,
they get my
they
number?
email you, but I got actually
Yeah.
a letter in the mail, okay, addressed to me to the Fifth Ward. Okay. So anyway, yes. And people think it's me going around and just looking for things to bitch about. No, we got people calling in, sending emails, sending messages. You know why, Sean? Is we're getting results. We got 2 fire hydrants replaced in the last week that sat around for weeks on end until we cast a light on it.
Look at the
Okay.
bottom line is if you bring things to, I'll even give them, the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
Maybe some of the stuff they don't even know about.
it could
So
be.
they hear
Yeah,
it here and they say, well, you know what? I heard it on their show. Let's go fix it.
yeah,
I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. The reality is the city of Cohoes looks like a toilet bowl in the downtown. And I'm sad about that.
yeah,
And I know there's a lot of people like Manny and them who invested their money in this city, but they invested it with a whole different vision. And the vision now is just there is no vision.
yeah.
Okay, there's
Like
no
Danny O,
vision.
Danny O, I think, is a
Danny
terrific
O,
guy.
I brought Danny O to Cohoes.
Yeah,
The Bonaquisti brothers. Me and Mike Jacobson worked with a lot of people, and
yeah,
Timmy, those timely reports may be accessible from the New York State Health Department. Well, the problem, Kim, is that the New York State Health Department refers you to the county because the county oversees the Cohoes water plant. How it works must be on the county level. Um, the city of Cohoes' water filtration plant is so old that it's still done on paper records.
yeah.
It's not done on it's
And
not
I
a
asked for
computer
them.
system.
There's no reason for them not to give them to me. They're right there.
So if you ever like watched the news when there's a earthquake, there's that round disc, and you see the wire going like this, and it
Yeah,
will tell you how many, if it's
yeah. It's
if
a
it's
disc chart,
rated right
like a
1 to 10,
record.
right,
Right.
right.
It's right.
This is what happens. This thing tests the clarity of the water, and if it spikes, that means the water got dirty like really fast for no reason. We
Yeah.
know that the water got dirty. We know that it was thousands of gallons, not
It was
hundreds of
five
gallons,
thousand gallons a minute. I'm being
pouring
told.
out of that pipe. But Kim, we should look into it and call the health department. But when I spoke to people that I knew in the health department, they referred me to the county
Yeah.
because the county is the ones that oversee the water department.
Mm,
Hey, Timmy, I
yeah.
think we did okay. I don't think there's been a lot of freezing up. Um,
Not much. So I thought we had a decent run at it tonight.
I think we got through it, and we're an hour and 10 minutes into the show, and people are going to hang up on us because they're
We're
going to
too
get tired
long.
of hearing us. So I appreciate everybody listening to the show. We're going to try our new program hopefully next week or the following week because it does take a long time to figure out how to operate these programs.
Yeah.
And until then, we're going to keep plugging, keep sending us information, keep sending letters to the Fifth Ward, keep texting us. You can reach me at SeanMoore'sPodcast@gmail.com. I get a ton of emails from people. Listen, to be honest with you, there's emails that we get and information we get that I'm not even going to go there,
Yep,
because if I
I
can't
get the
verify it,
same
I'm
thing.
not, yeah, if I can't verify it's true,
Yep.
I'm not going to just go out there. This isn't about, bad mouthing somebody, hurting somebody, being mean and ruthless to somebody like this is a political
Yeah. No, I
party. We're just
vet
two
as much as I
podcast
can.
guys. Yeah, we're just two podcast guys. If I can substantiate it, whether it's here in Cohoes, whether it's in Albany, whether it's in Troy, whether it's whatever, we're going to try to expand, like we talked about, to talking about issues throughout the capital region. But right now, I guess we're having fun pouncing on our own city because, God, it needs a lot of help. But
It's
hey,
ripe.
everybody.
Right. It's very ripe for it. So,
Yeah. Well, hey, Timmy, it was good to see you. God bless everybody, and look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.
good night.